Long time ago in Ibadan, Nigeria, there lived a wealthy and influential couple named Douglas and Kamsi. They were loved by everyone around them. God blessed them with identical twin boys, whom they named Jaden and Kelvin. From the moment they were born, Douglas and Kamsi showered their sons with love and care. The boys were so handsome. As the twins grew older, they began their schooling journey. However, Douglas and Kamsi noticed something important. Jaden excelled in his studies, always bringing home top grades, while Kelvin struggled, often returning with poor marks. The twins' personality also started to diverge. Jaden was outgoing and confident, while Kelvin was more reserved and introspective. Despite their differing academic performances, they continued their education. Their parents put in their best in their education. Despite these efforts, Kelvin's grades continued to lag behind Jaden's, leading to feeling of frustration and inadequacy. To motivate Kelvin, Douglas and Kamsi promised that anyone with good grades would get a gift at the end of the term. Open its will, encourage him to perform better. However, Kelvin never received any gift. He continued to perform woefully. His mother would say, "Kelvin, what kind of a son are you? You can't continue to disgrace me with my influence in the society. Everyone in your school sees me as a mother of a dollar. You are so disgraceful." The little boy would look sober, saying nothing. Kelvin began to feel bad. He would reject food sometimes. His parents would go out with Jaden and lock him inside, fearing that his presence would reflect poorly on them. They treated him like he wasn't worth to be called a son, especially when they noticed he can't even pronounce words correctly. This was how he started living an isolated life, since he could sense the shift in his parents' attitude. Kelvin's parents' hurtful words cut deep, leaving scars that went beyond his academic struggle. The constant insult and harsh treatment leaves him feeling worthless and alone. In school, Kelvin became a shadow of himself, sitting silently in class, avoiding eye contact with his classmates. Everyone always gossips about him, therefore he had no friend. Day after day, Kelvin tried so hard to read and improve, but he would read a paragraph over and over again and still not grasp anything. Jaden, the golden son, continued to enjoy luxury as their parents treated him like a prince. As Kevin and Jaden entered their teenage years, it was time to be enrolled into secondary school. Douglas and Kamsi made a decision that further widened the gap between Jaden and Kelvin. They enrolled Jaden in a prestigious, academically renowned school in town, ensuring he received the best education money could buy. However, when it came to Kelvin, their parents made a different choice. They selected a school with a boarding house far away from home, where Kelvin would be isolated from their daily lives. Their reasoning was clear: by keeping Kelvin at a distance, they could avoid the embarrassment of his academic struggle and spare themselves the discomfort of confronting their failings as a parent. Kelvin's heart sank as he realized the implications of his parents' decision. Being sent away to boarding school felt like a punishment, a further rejection of who he was. The thought of being separated from his brother and his parents filled him with so much depression. As the twins embarked on their separate journeys into secondary school, the distance between them was wide. Kelvin had another worse episode in secondary school. He sat alone in crowded classroom, feeling like an outsider amidst his peers. Despite his effort to improve academically, his performance continued to disappoint. The absence of friends compounded Kelvin's loneliness. He longed for companionship, for someone to share his joys and sorrow with, but each day seemed only to reinforce his isolation. Kelvin's parents never visited him, not even a phone call. This made him feel like an orphan, abandoned and forgotten. They only sent him things he would need once in a while. Kelvin happened to be the last person to leave the class, because he was also a slow writer. One fateful day, as Kelvin lingered behind in the classroom, struggling to keep up with his classmates due to his writing pace, his teacher, Mrs. Sasere, took notice. Instead of yelling at him for being the last one to leave, The teacher approached Kelvin with kindness and compassion. Curious about Kelvin's situation, the teacher started up a conversation with him, gently probing to understand his struggle. As Kelvin opened up to her, he said, "I don't know what is wrong with me. I tried so hard but find it difficult to read or comprehend. Sometimes I get confused with alphabet. Number 9 looks like letter P, while W looks like M." He burst into tears. Mrs. Sasere was moved by what he said, and she made a promise to do everything in her power to help Kelvin succeed. "Don't worry, I know what the problem is. As from today, I want you to see me as your friend. Always be happy and determined. I want you to know you are the best student in this school, and I will make that happen." Kelvin felt a great relief. After school hours, Kelvin and Mrs. Sasere would stay back as she adopted various methods of teaching, and she taught him from the scratch. The work was tedious, but the outcome was great. Slowly, Kelvin gained confidence in himself, and his academic performance began to improve. Most times, Mrs. Sasere also gave him words of declaration, just as Mrs. Sasere taught him. Every morning, Kelvin would say to himself, "I am strong, I am bold, I am confident, I am not a dullard. I have the Holy Spirit, the best teacher, so I know all things." In no time, Kelvin changed, and all his classmates began to see him in a new light. As day turns into weeks, award and prize giving day was near. Mrs. Sasere called Kelvin and said, "I want you to render a short speech on that day. I want you to educate everyone about your experience." He was excited, and together they prepared the speech. On the award giving day, everyone was present: parents, teachers, and students. But Kelvin's parents were nowhere to be found. Mrs. Sasere sneaked into the office to put a call to them, telling them something urgent came up and they must rush to the school premises in no time. On getting there, she led them into the hall where Kelvin soon took the stage. His speech goes thus: "Hello everyone, dignitaries, parents, and all teachers. My name is Kelvin Douglas, and I want to share my experience with you. I used to be a dullard who finds it difficult to read and comprehend. This made almost everyone around despise me. I couldn't read fluently, neither can I spell correctly. This caused separation between my family and I, cause no one wants to be seen with a dull child like me. But fortunately, I met an angel, Mrs. Sashere, who loved me regardless of my situation. She enlightened me and made it known to me I was suffering from dyslexia. Dyslexia is a learning disability or disorder where the brain processes written language differently. Anyone with dyslexia spells erratically, read and write slowly, find it difficult to listen and maintain focus over and over again before they could comprehend. Mostly it is caused by genetics, that is, it runs in the family. It can also be caused by differences in brain development and functions. However, adopting new learning and teaching method, encouragement, patience, and support helps children with dyslexia to improve. Just like I am a living testimony, having dyslexia doesn't make us less intelligent. We don't just grab things fast like other. Finally, with or without dyslexia, every child has a bright future and should be treated well. So, parents, do not give up. Thank you. At this point, everyone with a standing ovation clapped for him. His mother cried bitterly. She ran to Mrs. Sasere inside her office to thank her, and she felt bad for not being a good mother to her son. Moral lessons. Parents, do not give up on your children because of their predicament. Every child deserves a better future. You might also have a child like Kelvin. Raining insults and talking them down is not the solution. There might not be a permanent cure for dyslexia, but there are successful people in the world showing symptoms of dyslexia before changing the world. The likes of Anderson Cooper, Robin Williams, Whoopi Goldberg, George Washington, Octavia Spencer, Pablo Picasso, and so on. Parents, invest in your children. Stop calling them Olodo, which means dollar, like the Yorubas do. They might have dyslexia. All they need is help. What have you learned so far? I'll be at the comment section. Bye.